Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out of the shadows. Here's the spoilers. Hi, I'm Andre, I'm a black nerd, and it's time for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows movie spoilers review. These are spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, watch my non-spoilers review. If you do want spoilers, you're in the right place. And also watch my non-spoilers review. Get a double dose of turtle talkness. And of course, some of my spoilers will be based on suggestions and comments given by you. Krang! Krang! Oh, Kraang. Okay, here's the thing about Kraang. I loved Kraang. Like, I thought he looked great. Him in that robot suit, which was kind of a high-tech, modern version of the classic 80s suit. I thought that was cool. I thought the way they made Kraang himself was cool. All slimy and with tentacles. I mean, like, if you were to take the animated Kraang, put him in this movie and do all your CGI magic, that was the Kraang that I expected. And surprisingly, I was okay with Brad Garrett doing the voice. It was originally supposed to be Fred Armisen, but it ended up being Brad Garrett. And I was worried at first because Brad Garrett has a very deep voice. Oh, Ray. But Kraang has always been, Shredder, I want to get the Technodrome. Get me Bebop and Rocksteady and go to the surface world. What's interesting about Brad Garrett voicing Kraang is he's still got the deep voice, but he's talking like Kraang. He's like, oh, Shredder, you will work with me and you will help me bring my Technodrome here to Earth. I was like, wow, that's kind of how Kraang speaks. That's kind of his mannerisms, just in a Brad Garrett voice. So having Kraang in this movie, he looked great, he sounded great, his movements were great, his CGI was great. The only problem with him is we didn't really need him that much. I really thought Kraang was going to be like a third act reveal or maybe even an after credit scene to set up a third movie. But you see Kraang very early in this movie. And that was when I was talking about in my non-spoilers review, I was saying that if you don't understand Ninja Turtles, if you don't have the classic 80s cartoon ingrained in your brain and know all the knowledge about it, that first time you see Kraang, I could feel people in the audience going, what is going on right now? Kraang at the beginning literally comes out of nowhere. If you would have set him up throughout the course of the movie, if you would have said that Shredder had this mutagen, he got it from a special source, we're finding little bits and details along the way, and on the third act reveal you go, oh, Shredder got this mutagen from an alien and now he's here to attack. Boom, that kind of makes sense. You set up, you're led up to it. But when you have Shredder just show up right at the beginning to Kraang, and Krang's like, yeah, I'm Kraang, I'm going to be in the third act. I mean, that's pretty much what he did in that first part of the movie. He's like, I'm Kraang, I'm gonna be the big bad guy in the third act. Here's some exposition for you to do your movie, but just know that after a matter of time of you enjoying this film, I'm gonna come back and I'll be the villain in this here picture. So I don't think you needed that first scene. That first scene should not have happened. The Turtles on top of something, fighting a robot with a brain inside this time, as opposed to a robot with a Shredder inside this time, because that's what you do in these types of movies. Kraang, of course, gets sucked back into Dimension X, and of course is yelling, I'll be back, Turtles, I'll be back, and I don't know, that box office might, if that box office doesn't get better, you might not be back, Kraang. You'll be back on the animated series. The other bad reason for Kraang to be in the beginning is it kind of downplays Shredder. I felt like Shredder was really underused in this, especially at the part when he finally gets all these three pieces. Basically, Kraang sends him on this mission to find these three pieces of a device that's gonna open up a portal to Dimension X, which is another one of these things of like, all right, we gotta go on the item finding mission. We gotta find this piece in this location, and this piece in that location. I was like, didn't I see this in Jim and the Holograms? And then, of course, when he finds all the pieces and like, yes, we'll rule the world together, Kraang's like, nah, fool, it's all about me, and freezes Shredder, and then Shredder goes away. And I was kind of bummed by that because I really like Brian T. as Shredder. I thought that he was great. I really wish that he was the Shredder in the first movie. I also wish that Rocksteady and Bebop was in the first movie. If Shredder, the Shredder that we have now, and Rocksteady and Bebop were part of the first movie, then I think you could have had more Kraang in this movie. But I feel like with this one, as much as I liked how Kraang looked and as much as the way I liked how Kraang acted in this movie, I think it should have been focused more on this new Shredder, Rocksteady and Bebop, and having them really fight the Turtles, and that's your end piece, is Rocksteady and Bebop fight the Turtles. That could have been your third act. And then it all could have been set up with Kraang being the commander. You know, he should have been like the Thanos figure that came at the end and was like, all right, I guess we're going to go to space and come back with some rock soldiers. And then maybe the rock soldiers at the time are fighting the Triceratons, so they bring their whole battle. And then you have the Triceratons and the rock soldiers fighting each other, and the neutrinos can swoop in on their flying car. They downplay my man Shredder. Like, Shredder should have been front and center in that final act, and I can't believe Kraang just froze him and put him away. That was just wrong. But I was looking really hard at that scene. There's a scene where Krang freezes Shredder. Shredder goes down inside the Technodrome. Looks like it's part of what Krang calls his collection. And it goes really fast. This is why I hate watching movies in 3D, because it's hard for me to focus, because I was like trying to look around, see like there's some Easter eggs in here somewhere. I can tell, I can feel it. My Easter egg senses were tingling, but I couldn't see anything because these dang old glasses. I have to wear my 3D glasses, and then I gotta wear my regular glasses underneath my 3D glasses. It's the most uncomfortable thing in the world. So I was trying to see what collections he had. I couldn't. Some people said they saw a Triceraton in there. Somebody even said they saw Usagi Yojimbo in there. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's one of those scenes that when I get the DVD, I'll probably freeze frame it, or people will probably freeze frame it and be like, oh, here's a circle and an arrow letting you know what's here. Secrets you might have missed from Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Everyone's gonna have their videos about that. Other Easter egg that Tyler DeBoer found, I wanted to know if you spotted the quick reference from April's fake ID. Apparently her fake name on the ID was Renette Tilly, which is nice because Renette, of course, the time traveler from the Turtles lore. They mentioned neutrino. Did you hear that one of the things that Donatello said? He said that there's some neutronium or something like that. I was like, he got that for neutrinos. I know what's going on here. That's a reference. There's a lot of references. Someone says, give me a break to Raph. I don't know if that was supposed to be a reference, but it felt like one. There were things that I was making references when I don't even know if they were references. Like there's one time when Raphael called Casey Jones a chicken, and then Casey Jones goes up and says, who you calling a chicken, turtle? And for some reason I thought about that PSA commercial. I'm not a chicken, you're a turkey. That's why I thought that was played off of, but I may be just giving the movie more credit than it deserves. And of course the Vanilla Ice song playing, Ice Ice Baby, I thought that was cute. But the biggest song reference you got was at the very end, during the end credits. They had this rocked out version of the Ninja Turtles theme song mixed in with Go Ninja Go, and I have been trying to find it on Spotify since I heard it because I need that song in my life. It's a nice like palate cleanser. Like you watching this movie and you will sit there at the end scene and you're just like, wait, that didn't make any sense, and this thing didn't make any sense, and why did they do this, and I don't understand this part. I don't know if this movie is as good as I think it is. And then that end credit song comes in, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell, turtle power, go ninja go, ninja go. Go Ninja Go, Ninja Go. And you're like, yeah, this movie was awesome. What just happened? I just got brainwashed by a theme song. And you got to see animated versions of all the cast members, included animated Megan Fox Belly. In case live action Megan Fox Belly wasn't enough for you, you get some animated Megan Fox Belly as well. If you like bellies, this is the movie for you. This movie is like the Don Turtellis for bellies. Now I said in my non-spoilers review that I thought one of the big problems with this movie is it had too many plots in it. One of them I thought could have been erased immediately, and that's one that Tyler Richards even brought up. What was with the whole turning human plot? The Turtles were never human to begin with, and why would they want to get rid of all their turtle power? In the movie, they've saved New York City, but because they're Ninja Turtles, they don't want to be seen. They think that people will not understand them, so they actually had Vern take the credit, saying that he was the one that actually stopped the Shredder and saved New York City, and he got the key to the city, and he's got his nickname, the Falcon. And now the Turtles are kind of feeling like, man, we love to go to the surface. Michelangelo especially wants to go up there and hang out. They have this Day of the Dead party. It's some random party where people are in costumes, so Michelangelo could walk around and be like, oh, this is kind of cool. And of course, Turtles bring him down. I was like, you can't go up there, man. It was funny though, because the entire time that he was at that party, I was just waiting for like a band to come out and the Chipmunks to start singing, Uptown Monk don't give it to you, cause Uptown Monk don't give it to you. And Theodore comes out and start dancing. We don't get any Chipmunks. What we do get is a Transformer. If you ever want to see a Transformer and Ninja Turtles crossover, you kind of get it in this movie. There's a part where a guy drives up looking like Bumblebee, and of course they make that sound. And it's Michelangelo talking to a cosplayer dressed as Bumblebee, which I think I might have seen that dude at a comic convention once. I think I've seen him before in person. Purple Mutagen turns Rocksteady and Bebop into the Rhino and the Warthog, and the way they explain it, because they didn't show any animals with them, I was wondering how they're gonna do it. Tyler Perry, Black Nerd Stockman, explains that the way they were able to change is because every one of us has some kind of animal ingrained in our DNA, and if you get hit with this purple mutagen, you somehow turn into the mutant version of whatever animal you're connected with. So with Rocksteady, it was a rhinoceros. With Bebop, it was a warthog. So this same purple mutagen, if Donatello worked some mumbo jumbo on it, would have also turned the turtles into humans. And my feeling about that whole plot is you do it or you don't talk about it. I mean, I get the whole idea of them not being accepted by society because of who they are. You could still play that angle. I think that was a good angle to play, but you can't throw in this turning into human angle unless you actually do something with it. I was really hoping that they would turn turned them into humans, and then the human versions of the turtles would have been the human actors who did the motion captures of the turtles. Of course, that would have lasted temporarily, but I think that would have just been a nice little cool thing to do. Is like, hey, all the people that do the motion captures for the turtles, we're gonna have this one scene where you get to be human and it'll be you. And then of course you turn back into turtles. It wouldn't last. Of course they were gonna learn a lesson that they shouldn't be humans, they should be turtles because that's who they are. I got that. I think that was a whole chunk that you could have taken out. The only reason why it's good to have it is it does give Raphael some motivation to actually be angry at Leonardo, which caused them to split, which I actually kind of like that. Leonardo and Raphael, of course, get in a fight because Leonardo learns from Donatello about this possibility of them turning human. He doesn't want any part of it, and he tells Donatello not to tell anybody, but Michelangelo overheard it. And then Michelangelo told Raphael, oh, I heard from Leonardo and Donatello, they got some chemical that can make us human. And Raphael was like, Leonardo, why you lying to us? And Leonardo was like, look, just because you want to be human don't mean that we need to be human because we turtles, and that's how we supposed to be. And Raphael was like, And Leonardo was like, And then they got mad, and then Leonardo was like, y'all stay home. You, my Mikey, y'all got problems, so you stay home and think about what you did while me and Donatello gonna go out and do some ninja by ourselves. And Raphael was like, oh, for real? Then I'm gonna have my own plan and have Michelangelo come along with my plan. I'm gonna call Casey Jones and April O'Neil and have them do a plan with me, and we're gonna get Vern and have him sneak into the police station, have him walk around like he actually supposed to be there while we sneaking in, getting stuff, and then the foot soldiers show up, and then they stop us, and then other turtles show up at the time to save the day, and then we get stopped by cops. What the hell did I just say? And can we talk about that scene when the turtles get stopped by cops? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe because of the person I am, but I caught some subtext in that. When them cops were pointing the guns at the turtles are like, they're monsters. They're beasts. They're monsters. And he's all like, we're not monsters, dude. And they got their hands up and they're going down. You see Michelangelo's face. He's all sad because these cops just are immediately seeing them as bad guys, even though they're not. No, there's no subtext in that at all. In a Michael Bay movie, please. But Ryan Martin brings up an interesting point. The turtles were afraid to be shot by the cops, yet in the previous film, they are shown to be bulletproof after getting shot by the Foot Clan. Yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah, that makes no sense at all, actually. I can't argue with that. That is a plot hole. We have found a plot hole. The only one in Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. There's no other plot holes but that one. Monica Powell, could you talk about how Raph seemed to be really scared about jumping in the plane scene? It seemed he was having some flashback fear from the tower fall from the first movie. I like the whole Brazil scene. Them going to Brazil made absolutely no sense. You could tell that was like either a credit that that the movie got for shooting in Brazil, or maybe somebody wanted a vacation, but they were just like, yeah, let's just have one of the pieces be in Brazil. Everything else is in New York, but this one piece is in Brazil for some reason. Vacation! Y'all learning from Adam Sandler, ain't you? But that being said, I love the action scene because you got the whole thing with the plane, you got them on the water, fighting each other and falling down that waterfall, and you got the turtles fighting Bebop and Rocksteady. And that was a lot of fun. Seeing the turtles fight Bebop and Rocksteady in that one scene was amazing. Unfortunately, I gotta emphasize that. Seeing the Ninja Turtles fight Bebop and Rocksteady in that one scene was great. That's the only time they really fight each other. That's it. The rest of the time, Rocksteady and Bebop are hanging out with Casey Jones. I just was like, why is that happening? I get you gotta fight Krang. I got it. But even before that, you need a mini boss before the main boss. You should have had them fight Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady. If you could have just had that one, like, true ninja fight, not them just slamming them down or falling out of a plane or any of that kind of stuff, but a literal like UFC fight, like MMA style, mutant versus mutant, that would have been great. I mean, Ninja Turtles fight Tokka and Razar more in The Secret of the Ooze than they fight Rocksteady and Bebop in this movie. That should not be the case. I understand you gotta give Casey Jones, April, and Vern something to do. Have the humans fight the humans, have the mutants fight the mutants. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna approve of segregation in this movie. We should have had the humans over here, the mutants over here, separate but equal, and that's how it should have been. And then that whole thing about Casey Jones when he said something like, oh, you guys got some pretentious names, and she goes, hey, I named them. I was like, don't remind us. We're trying to forget the first movie as much as we possibly can. Don't say things about it to remind us. Oh, and Raphael should have been dead. Suspend your disbelief. I mean, first off, you're talking about a movie with talking mutant turtles. You gotta suspend your disbelief, because Raphael falling out of that plane, slamming his face right on the front of the airplane, he would have been dead. There's something on the wing. As a gremlin on the wing. No, as a turtle on the wing. Sheena K. Graham, please talk in enunciated sentences and explain to me how incompetent the Foot Clan was in TMNT 2. One got knocked out by the Falcon. Not Civil War Falcon, but fake hero cameraman the Falcon. Well, to be honest, the Foot Clan has always been pretty incompetent. You look at any version of Ninja Turtles and they're always bad. But yeah, there are a couple of times in this movie where April and Vern knock out the Foot Clan. I'm like, Turtles, okay. Casey Jones, acceptable. April and Vern, Yeah, man, this is a cameraman and a news reporter, and they stopping ninjas. And that leads me to one of the things that, you remember when I said in my non-spoiler review that there was something that happened with Kraang, and I looked at that movie and just went, no, that's impossible. April just straight up knocks out Kraang. Freaking Kraang, first off, only gets like 2 lines in the entire film. She's in the entire movie standing stoic in the background, delivering information to Shredder every once in a while, and that is it. I was just waiting for her time to shine. She gets in one little fight, knocks Vern out, and then April grabs something like a suitcase that doesn't even like look too heavy, and knocks her out. And I'm just like, no. Kraang would have done one of those things like in the cartoons where she would have sliced the sword around and looked like it never touched April, and then she just would have split up into like 10 pieces. That's what Kraang would have done. There is no way, you cannot tell me that Kraang, the second in command to Master Shredder of the Foot Clan, is gonna be stopped by April ONeil. No, I will give you like one dumb foot soldier that can't see out of his costume that April sneaks up and knocks out. But come on, Kraang! Leonardo can't defeat Kraang sometimes in past Ninja Turtles stories. Come on! I just want Kraang to get some love. If you're not gonna use her, just take her out. Don't replace her with somebody else and then don't do anything with her. Just either do something with her or don't have her. But hey, at least she got more scenes and more lines than that one woman. Who was that Asian girl that was following Laura Linney the entire time? She was just there. She never said a word, but she was always like right behind her like, hey, just want to remind you that I'm a cop too. Asian lady cop. She don't say nothing, but she's an Asian lady cop. She do not talk, but she's an Asian lady cop. Behind Laura Linney. Kel McGowan, I'm with you right here on this one. Let's have a big rant about how Judith Hoag's cameo didn't make the cinematic cut. I mean, why have her standing quite clearly in costume on the set in New York in broad daylight talking to cast members to then not have her in the film? Why keep in pointless cameos from basketball players and models if you're thinking to cut out the original film April ONeil? So backstory on that. Early on in the production of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, a photo had surfaced that showed Judith Hoag, who played April ONeil in the original 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. It was assumed that meant that she was going to be making a cameo in the film, probably as like April's boss. So it's like, oh, the April ONeil from the old movie is now the boss of the April ONeil in this movie, which I think would have been a great, I think in 1990 fans would have loved it. And it wasn't in the movie. It's not in the movie at all. So I don't know if that was just, she was just visiting the set that day, or she was in New York that day and just happened to walk by on the set, or if they really did film a scene with her that got cut. Really? You really going to do that to the 1990 April ONeil? There is no need to do that. That was wrong. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. I want a Judith Hoag cut of Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. X-Men Apocalypse, a Jubilee cut. Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, the Judith Hoag cut. Jubilee, Judith Hoag. Emily Trimmer, the Raph-Mikey relationship, such as when they tricked Casey into charging the Splinter but got beaten to a pulp instead. I actually like that. I like that Raphael and Michelangelo had this fun relationship where they were messing with Casey Jones when they went on the mission by themselves. Again, that's the stuff that I was talking about you can give some relationships and some story to these turtles so they're not just action set pieces and that's it. Having those little moments are just helpful to make those characters be a little bit more well-rounded, more defined as a character. So like I said, when it gets to the point where Raphael is mad at Leonardo or Michelangelo is feeling like he wants to go to the surface, and when he finally gets to go and meet humans, they don't like him. Like that kind of stuff has more of an impact because you develop a story with these characters as opposed to them just fighting all the time and then disappearing when they're not fighting. And I have to say I also like Splinter in this a lot more in this movie. In the first movie, he was kind of a D-bag, but in this one, he was more of a fatherly figure. He was a little bit stern at times, but he still had fun, and of course he played along with Raph and Mikey's trick on Casey Jones, which I thought was nice. I just thought it was a better Splinter this go round. At Rob movie, April in the schoolgirl outfit, and why was she in it? I felt it was forced. Really? Did you really feel like it was forced? I don't know. Was it? Was it forced? Did April ONeil wear schoolgirl outfits in multiple episodes of the animated series? I don't remember that. I think it might have been forced. So April ONeil is trying to get close to Baxter Stockman to steal his emails so he can find out what's going on. I wonder if she was in there and also found like a logo for the Wild West Cowboys of Moon Mesa, the Biker Mice from Mars, the Street Sharks to start their universe like they did Justice League. Baxter Stockman just has logos of every series. Seriously, an email. And how do you get the attention of the big dorky nerd? You go over there and act like the cute nerdy chick, and she was all about it. She's like, oh, I'm more like the science type nerd, not like the Comic-Con type nerd. And Baxter's all, and he's like, and I just looked at that movie like, I want a check. And for some reason she's blonde, but then the device that she's trying to get the emails from is getting out of her distance range from her turtle communicator with even a cartoon turtle face on it. so that she can't get all the emails, so she got to get closer, so she does it through some, I'm not gonna explain it. They basically make up a reason to get her to dress up like a blonde girl, and then to get her to dress up like a Catholic schoolgirl. That was Bay all over it. Like, anybody that says, oh, Bay's just a producer, he's not involved, look at that scene. She changes and it literally is like slow-mo walk. Hey, Megan Fox is sexy. And I'm not against it. I agree. I'm all for it. It's just, it was completely unnecessary. I mean, I was happy. If that was its purpose, mission successful, achievement unlocked. I will probably watch it a bunch of times when I get the DVD, but it was ridiculous. Don Tortelli's for bellies. But don't worry, we didn't get some action with manhole cover shooting out of trucks, which that was awesome. I liked that whole scene. I loved all the action scenes. The manhole cover shooting scene, the plane in Brazil, the final fight with Krang. It just, again, got a little convoluted. Like this spoilers review. It's all over the place. But at least we had Bebop and Rocksteady. They were just so great. And I love their little phrase, my man, my man. Although at Tiger Claw 305 had to mention that one when they turn into mutants, they're all like, I got a nose and I got a tail, my man. And there's one scene when they open up them pants and look down and they're just like, my man, my man. I know what you did there. For some reason though, I did like the part when they're eating the spaghetti and then Shredder's just looking at him and Bebop is slurping that spaghetti. He goes, and he puts his finger up. He's like, just little things like that. And that's why I like Rocksteady and Bebop. They were fun in this movie. Thanks, Bebop and Rocksteady. I wish they would have used you more in the film. Wish you could have fought the Turtles more in the movie, but they were great. They were great as humans. They were great as mutants. I love them. I hope they come back in Turtles 3 if we even get one. Because like I said, that box office, not as strong as they was expecting. I think putting it up in June versus leaving it in August like the last one was probably not a good idea. They probably should have put this in August or maybe in the spring, and I think it would have done a little bit better having it out right now when we just still are riding off the heels of that Civil War, when the Angry Birds are making a bunch of money. It's really tough right now for them turtles. So at the end of the day, it's better execution of the characters, but just not as good of an execution of the story. If the story was just a little bit stronger, I think this would have been a great film, but I think it's that story that's made it be very split, because you got the people who are like, hey, I know the story is bad, but at least the turtles and some of the elements that I wanted in a Ninja Turtles movie like Rocksteady, Bebop, and Krang are here, so I'm at least happy about that. And then you got the people who are like, well, as great as all that stuff is, it doesn't excuse the fact that this story is really all over the place and convoluted and stupid. And you know what? I see both sides. I personally had fun with it because I did get a little bit of nostalgia from it. I did appreciate the fact that they gave the Turtles more focus. I did appreciate the fact that they brought in Rocksteady and Bebop. I did appreciate the fact that they brought in Krang, although I don't think they should have used Krang as much as they did. So that stuff I can appreciate. But yes, if you ever sit here and tell me that there's some problems with this story or a lot of problems with the story, I'll be the first one to agree with you. I'm okay with accepting the fact that as much as I enjoyed certain things about this movie, I cannot deny, I will not have my nostalgia glasses on and not notice that there are some issues with this story. Someone else needs to hit the script on these turtle movies. I gotta be honest, as much as I love Ninja Turtles, sometimes watching Ninja Turtles in this form, this live action CGI form, kind of shows you how ridiculous this whole thing is. When you see Krang on the big screen, you're just like, yeah, this is kind of silly. All this fighting and arguing about keep the turtles pure, you look at that, you're like, nah man, this is pretty ridiculous. Let's just enjoy it for what it is, whatever.